This is Nitin Dahad with the Times, and I'm here at the Synaptics Tech Day talking to the CEO of Synaptics, Michael Hurlston. Mike, hello, how are you?
Nitin, great to see you as always. We've had some great discussions in the past. I hope this is another good one.
Yeah, well, let's start off with here. You've got quite a lot going on with Tech Day. Tell us what's going on and what's the objective here?
You know, it's interesting. This really started out as a way for our employees to see demos because, of course, our typical engineer doesn't go to CES, doesn't go to Electronic, all the shows that you cover. And we decided, why don't we bring the demos to the employees? But over the last couple of years, it's now evolved into an event where we can bring customers, we can bring writers, we can bring suppliers to show them what we're all about. Because as you well know, having covered us for quite some period of time, we're a relatively complex company with lots of things to offer. And so it really gives our customers, suppliers, whatever, an opportunity to see what we're all about.
Okay, okay, let's talk about some of the announcements this week that you made. So just give it a little bit of a summary.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that obviously is important to us is the wireless connectivity. So as you know, we inherited the wireless connectivity from Broadcom. We've developed a lot behind the Broadcom technology. So we've taken it, we've pivoted it toward IoT applications.
Right.
And in so doing, we wanted to call out a brand, something that could encompass the set of products that we have, and we called that Viros for wireless IoT. Essentially, and particularly as you well know, it's mostly Wi-Fi that we do.
Yeah.
Our Wi-Fi brand, Wi-Fi 7, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E is encompassed in that brand, and it's something that we hope to take forward. We often bundle it with Astra, so our edge AI processors are using wireless. They need some way to connect back to the internet.
Yeah.
But in many cases, our wireless will attach to somebody else's processor, or stand by itself, and we wanted a way to call that out.
Oh, interesting. And what about, there's another announcement with Embedur, because I think one of the key things is about edge AI, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, but tell us about that announcement as well.
Yeah, Embedur is a terrific partner of ours. We were just speaking a second ago. One of the key issues that you have in edge AI is the number of disparate use cases. So this market is still very nascent, it's developing, everybody has their own use case. And different to the data center, you have to take those use cases and you have to compile it into our chip, and it's more fixed. It's not like a data center where it's relatively flexible. You have a fixed use case that you're going to run at the edge.
Right.
Embedur is a partner of ours that basically provides different models, and they'll customize them for our customers. We don't want to do that. We're providing the silicon, we're providing the underlying base software, but we don't want to provide the machine learning models that are really essential to making this whole ecosystem work.
That's interesting because a lot of people talk about moving up the stack and doing that vertically integrated, but obviously companies like yourselves are doing that with partners. Is there it's better to go with partners, or are you going to be evolving those software applications as well?
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out. I mean, this market is a very young and nascent market. The decision that we've made is, look, we think we're very good at the chips. We think we're good at the neural networks that underline and drive these AI use cases.
Yeah.
There's a level of software that we actually are able to differentiate on that extends across MCUs and MPUs. But this application layer, the layer that actually does the machine learning models that our customers ultimately care about, we don't think we're particularly good at that. We think that that's something that we can work with a great partner like Embedur on.
Yes, and I think I've seen a few demos here, which they're quite impressive. I mean, putting into surveillance cameras, into the home set-top box, which is the quite interesting one as well.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, because you followed the company for quite some time, we basically started this whole AI journey having a couple of very narrow vertical segments, set-top box being one, this user presence. I think you've seen a set of demos around user presence.
We saw that at Computex as well this year.
That's right.
I did a video interview with them as well. Yeah.
So those use cases, which are pretty narrowly defined, what we've done is we said, okay, let's figure out how to take advantage of the inherent nature of the chips, open those up to broader markets and be able to take advantage of those in outside of those verticals, outside the set-top box vertical, outside enterprise telephony, outside user presence, how can we open this up and enable more AI use cases?
And one of the things you did, I mean, you've got the Veros brand today, but Astra, how is that going with the Astra brand and the products around that?
It's going really well. You and I had a chance to talk off camera, and one of the questions you asked is, how are we differentiating? There's a bunch of people running into edge AI. The way we see the world evolving is a distributed compute.
Yeah.
So you're going to have some things that run in the data center, a space that you've covered really, really well, but then you're going to have a set of the compute that's going to happen at the edge. Okay, so it's going to be a distributed network. Some workloads are going to run well on devices at the edge. Some are naturally going to run in the data center.
Yeah.
And I think how we're differentiating is, one, we're really first to market. We built in neural networks into our chips for these narrow verticals, the set-top box vertical, enterprise telephony vertical, user presence vertical. So we had them.
Yeah.
And then we basically expanded from there, and we started moving into this broad market initiative. So we're sort of first with a neural network that can run at the edge. The second thing is the software. You asked a question about the software.
Yeah.
That software is much more extensible. We've made it very easy to use software that can extend across our product offering. So if a customer wants to use an MCU, a lower powered MCU, or a higher powered MPU, they can get one software load, play with one software load, and go from there.
Okay. Let's turn to IoT, because when you look at the presentation you do to investors, it's that IoT bit which is the big strong. What's next? I mean, there's still the question on not at your level, but very much at the maybe the system level, which is interoperability. But where can you see this market going for Synaptics?
Yeah, I mean,
where's the growth coming from?
Yeah, I think it's around a couple of the areas we've already touched on. So if you look at our IoT bucket, what we've done is we've tried to break that up for investors, focusing on our core business, which is docking stations, which is some of the PC products, which is audio, that is very high margin for us, but lower growth rate.
Right.
And so we call that an enterprise and automotive segment. And then the growth is coming from what we call core IoT. And so in core IoT, we have our wireless products we just talked about with Veros.
Yes.
And we have our AI processors. And so near term, the growth is coming from wireless. Our wireless products, we're still very early in that.
Right.
We're competing with the likes of NXP and Infineon. You'd asked me about that earlier.
Yes.
And I think that we have the broadest product offering in wireless because we've gotten some help from Broadcom, as you know, and then innovated on top of that. But the second wave of growth is really going to come from this edge AI processor, where it's still early innings. I mean, we have very little business on edge AI processing today, but we've got a tremendous sales funnel, a set of opportunities that we've built up, and we think that that's going to be a market for us that really starts to take off in, let's say, 2027.
Okay, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Global geopolitics, supply chain. I'm not going to ask you about the geopolitics, but first of all, how are the markets globally for you? I don't know if I looked into those details, but that was 2023. So how's that sort of spreading out your business globally and regionally? And then we've had issues on supply chain. Is that all resolved now?
Yeah, I mean, maybe tackle the second piece of the question first.
Yeah.
Supply chain is almost entirely resolved. So we certainly had a lot of difficulty being a smaller supplier during COVID. The demand was incredible. We ran up in terms of revenue, in terms of our stock price, in terms of our earnings. And some of that was obviously driven by the COVID pandemic. On the way down, we've seen demand issues in a lot of our segments. We saw a huge inventory buildup.
Right.
And I would say for us now, we were probably the first to enter the correction cycle. We now feel like inventory is largely solved. So we're sort of, as we go do our supply chain checks, we don't see much in terms of inventory. It's very easy for us now to get product. Our suppliers have done a great job, and now the wait time for that is far less challenge. Our customers, of course, know that, and their lead times to us have come way down.
Right.
So
Okay.
where we were getting 26, 30, 35 weeks, a lot of visibility because the orders had to be placed so far out. Now we're back to sort of a normalized, actually probably subnormal
That's very
lead
good.
times.
Okay.
It's good.
Well,
and bad.
expectations are high now.
It's causing us to react a lot quicker. I mean, we were able to really predict our business when the lead times were a lot longer.
Yeah.
So I think now you're facing a situation where the lead times are abnormally short. Actually, inventory levels for us in some cases are abnormally low, where people's willingness to carry inventory is less than it was before.
Going into just in time again, I guess.
Almost just in time. Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
That's right. And I think
markets.
Yeah, on the first part of your question, we've definitely seen some softness in the actual demand.
Okay.
So our primary in the enterprise and automotive is primarily enterprise.
Yeah.
With a mix of automotive. Both of those markets we've seen softness in terms of demand.
Right. I think that's global anyway. I think.
As we listen to our competitors talk, they're sort of saying the same things. We'll see. I mean, I think that resolves itself here in the near term. We're still looking for signs. We kind of hit bottom and we've climbed out from a revenue perspective. Slower than I would have liked, slower than I would have predicted maybe 18 months ago, but nonetheless, we've had kind of a slow and steady climb out.
Okay, interesting. Probably the last topic now. Everybody talks about talent, the growth in the semiconductor industry and lack of talent. Last time I think I came to your offices 2 or 3 years ago, I think you just acquired a team in the south of France. How's the talent for what you're going to do, the IoT, going to evolve? Are you looking at other acquisitions, or what's the strategy for the roadmap and the product development and the talent to go with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say two things. One, yes, we are looking to acquire. I think that's been part of our model, part of our thesis. We did some acquisitions when I first came to the company. We did a series of 3 very well-received acquisitions that really fueled a change from mobile, because we were very mobile-centric, as you know, to more IoT-centric, so that worked out relatively well. We are looking to continue to do that. I think from an M&A perspective, we're one of the few companies that seems to still have an appetite to go and do deals, but it's a challenge. I mean, there's no question now the regulatory environment has changed.
Yeah.
China's become more difficult. Even the U.S., frankly, has become more difficult to get.
Because they're interconnected, so whatever happens with restrictions in China could also impact U.S. as well.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of tit for tat, right? So you have the U.S. getting tougher, the Chinese are getting tougher in terms of approving things. Yeah. I was just meeting with one of our large customers, and he was saying that the regulatory environment used to be relatively easy, and the pendulum has swung really far the other direction, where it's become very, very difficult.
Yeah.
As we think about our talent, right, what we found in electrical engineering, as you largely know, is this is a worldwide market now.
Yeah.
And so we've been very successful in growing talent in India. We've been very successful in growing talent in Poland. We've been very successful in growing talent in the Far East. We're looking everywhere. I mean, so I
visited your Bangalore office. Quite impressed there, actually. But and also you've got the initiatives happening in India with the semiconductor initiatives. I've seen quite a lot of activity in the recent months.
It's real. I mean, we were one of the first. My partner in India, a gentleman named Sanjay Saha, who you met with.
Yes.
When we were together at Broadcom, we were one of the first companies to do a turnkey model in India, which means our engineers take a product from inception, from product design, all the way through to test, development, production. So they run it from soup to nuts. They do the whole darn thing. That was a very innovative model that's enabled us to attract some of the best and brightest. So the team that we've assembled at Synaptics is a lot of the same folks that were around that model, experienced that model, and have grown up in that. And that's really enabled us to do very well in the Indian marketplace.
Okay, all right, let's close. What's coming next from Synaptics? What can you tell us?
Look, I mean, I think the big thing for us then is obviously this edge AI, right? We're super optimistic. We're putting a lot of wood behind this. Again, very, very early. We're spending a lot of our development time, our resources on making that happen. We are looking to continue to innovate in wireless. Wireless is an important area for us. We're moving along the normal development chain, but we're actually doing some interesting things. We're combining wireless with AI, where we're able to do presence detection using wireless signals. So we mix in a little bit of AI with our wireless products.
Yeah.
But really, this company is going to be, success or failure should be measured on how well we do with this AI initiative, which is very, very early.
Well, time will tell. Thank you.
Time will tell.
Michael, thank you very much.
Nitin, thanks as always.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you.
Thank you.